Right, hello. So this is just a quick one talking about the Twilight Princess PC port that just dropped, named Dusk. This was announced about 4 weeks ago, so, you know, not too long ago. It was only just announced and seemed to be very much a work in progress. But they've clearly been putting a lot of effort into trying to get it out as soon as possible, and today, as of recording, it has dropped to the public, which is why I'm able to play it right now. So I have just beat the intro, just beat the first Twilight, and it's very clear the improvements made by this version of the original. We have an uncapped frame rate. We are running this game natively at 60. We don't have to use that stupid lossless scaling program that, hardly works. Lossless scaling, while it definitely does make it such that the Dolphin emulator will output 60 FPS. Half of those frames are AI generated, and it wouldn't come as a surprise to say that those frames aren't too good. They're very low quality frames, there's a lot of blur around the edges, and it's no good. It's better to have this native 60 FPS version of Twilight Princess. What this should mean is that the barrier to entry, like the system requirements needed to play Twilight Princess on a PC, should now be lower. Because when you're emulating the game, the PC has to emulate a GameCube, and then it has to run the game on that GameCube that it is pretending to be. Needless to say, it is a simpler process to just have Twilight Princess natively running on the PC. So the barrier to entry to actually play Twilight Princess on PC is now significantly lower. I was having trouble getting Dolphin to even run at a stable 30 running Twilight Princess. Through much trial and error, I've ended up giving up. I think the best I was able to get it to was a somewhat stable, like 23 FPS. Yeah, my specs are not terrible. I was still doing 2x native. What I noticed is that the graphics wasn't actually the problem. Despite my very lackluster graphics card, the graphics did not seem to be the bottleneck. How I was able to come to that conclusion was by running the game at 2x native, running the game at 6x native, then running the game at 1x native. And what I found was I was having the same crappy FPS. So anyway, the only frame drops I was having was actually in Link's house, which I may as well head towards while I'm continuing to talk about the game. And this is only so far. I mean, I've just played the intro. But yeah, man, overall, this is an amazing re-release. We'll have a look at the settings. We'll have a look at all that this current release brings to the table, because it is a lot. We have quite a lot to play around with here. If we do show FPS, the game is currently outputting 30, which is due to the fact that I am recording the game in OBS right now. My PC was able to do 60 when the CPU wasn't so used up. Yeah, I don't know if it can do any higher than 60. It might be capable of doing that if you've got the sufficient hardware. There we are, outputting 2K resolution. If you've got a 4K monitor, I'm certain that it can output that. The increased shadow resolution was actually very, very good to see, because the shadows in the original were, woefully low res. Yeah, the bloom post-processing. I haven't actually messed around with this yet. So we've got classic, dusk, and then off. So no bloom whatsoever. No bloom actually looks alright. Although I'm certain that it looks a bit worse in the Twilight zones, which rely quite heavily on the bloom in order to sell its atmosphere. So I'll keep it on dusk. We'll keep it on what the game is trying to sell to us, I suppose. Like, this is what the developers must think is the best looking bloom for the game. Yeah, unlocking the frame rate, obviously a no-brainer. Minimap shadows, that's, a unique feature. I never thought that the minimap shadows were too distracting, but depth of field. Hang on, I actually have no idea what that's doing. What I was thinking it did was, usually when you pull the camera out in Twilight Princess, it actually does sort of changes the depth of field. It changes how everything sort of looks through the lens of the game. What I was assuming that turning that off did was make the camera pull out just simply a pulling back of the camera and not changing the depth of field with it. Maybe that is what it is, but I just am not noticing. Gyro controls. That is a brilliant addition. I am not currently using a gyro controller, but if you're playing on keyboard and mouse, from the looks of things, you can actually use the mouse to control, presumably, the camera and aiming with, the slingshot or the bow or whatever. Yeah, despite the fact that I've, been playing Twilight Princess since I was, a young child, since I was a wee lad, I actually didn't even know the roll go was a thing until just recently. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that out at some point. Anyway, so yeah, gyro controls, a, brilliant little addition there. I think it's pretty common knowledge at this point that gyro aiming is optimal. Coming to think of it now, I think the PS5 controller does have gyro. Because I could have sworn that playing The Last of Us remake on PS5, I could have sworn that there was gyro aim, or like gyro supplemented aim, where what I mean is that sort of you would do like the big movements with joystick, and then you'd be able to do the finer adjustments to your aiming using gyro. So yeah, I'm sure that there won't be frame dips now that I'm running the game at 30. Yeah, the 60 FPS was... Yeah. If I bring up FPS, saying 30, it's even going up to 33. I don't know, I mean, like, look, keep in mind, this is the first release. I think that they actually do have like a lot of planned features, like the integration of the randomizer into the game and fun things like that. They've got some interesting things in terms of audio, like spatial sound. I personally don't use headphones, I prefer speakers. So, I won't really be getting much out of that, but I'm sure that the average player does use headphones. Reverb. Cool. Yeah, mirror mode. I was very, very pleased to see that mirror mode was a thing. As someone that grew up with the Wii version of the game, it is excellent to be able to just flick a switch and mirror the game. Perfect, man. So now everything's just how I remember playing on the Wii version of the game. And they've got, glitch restoration. I'm certain that, people who speedrun Twilight Princess are probably pleased to be able to, flick a switch and have those OG glitches, just in this version. This enabling rotating link doll setting, I was pretty curious about, like, was this in the original GameCube version? I could load up Dolphin to have a quick look. So yeah, a little continuity thing. Link is left-handed here in the collection menu, obviously right-handed here, as I do have the mirror mode enabled. That may have been a thing in the Wii version. I don't know. Yeah, I can't say for sure. Maybe the Wii version left him unmirrored in the pause menu as well. So yeah, there are difficulty settings now. Instant death, doing a no-hit run. I suppose it was always easy to track whenever you take a hit due to how the heart counter works, but I suppose this just makes it possibly more appealing to do a no-hit run. There's damage multipliers as well to just baseline increase the challenge. You turn off heart drops, that's another hero mode feature. Now there is a lot of quality of life features, which are obviously very pleasing to see. Bigger wallets. So the wallet sizes can actually be a bit of an issue in the OG version. Your wallet's likely to get full pretty quick, and obviously Any rupees you collect past that point being lost into the void, or at the very least put back into dungeon chests. That's a funny sort of situation to be in. If you're in a dungeon and you open a chest that has rupees, and you are full of rupees, Link will actually put the money back, and the chest will remain unmarked. Meaning that if you consider having all of the chests marked as completion, then it pretty much negates you from getting closer to fully completing whatever dungeon you're in. Disable rupee cutscenes. Very annoying to have to watch Link, pick up a rupee, cause a cutscene every time you boot up the game. Faster climbing, obviously just a massive time saver. These are all things that were actually in the HD version. This was actually a massive time save in the Twilight that I just did before recording, the Baron Twilight. It was very noticeable, right off the rip, not having to waste 10 seconds waiting for a Vessel of Light to be collectible. You could just get straight into it. Instant saving. Yeah, watch this. You go to save the game. See how quick that was? Holy crap. Let's watch that again. Bam! The first time I saw that, I was taken aback, really. Geez, that was just so quick. Usually you have to wait 5 seconds, and clearly the game's not actually doing anything with that time. Just time wasting for the sake of it. So we got other stuff like instant text. Yeah, no rupee return. That obviously solves the problem that I was talking about earlier, where Link would put rupees back into chests. Not ideal. So now, having Link collect the rupees, whether he can take them or not, should help with that contingency. No sword recoil, really? There you go, there's another quality of life. I wonder if they've got no Epona running into walls. That would be amazing. No second fish for the cat. Wow, such a small but appreciated change. Because, if you think about it, having to collect a second fish for the cat is a 30-second annoyance of a 40-hour game. It's funny how they add that, and that's a selling point. That is a game changer. Quick transform, another amazing feature. And it's got a speedrun mode, which, presumably would disable all cheats and disable particular quality of life changes that, differentiate the game from the original. Having live split connection is probably good, because that would eliminate load times, presumably. Oh no, it tracks both. It tracks both RTA and in-game time. So yeah, we got cheats. Moon jump is interesting. It's always interesting to see how a moon jump can break the shit out of particular games. With moon jump, you'd be able to instantly go to Hyrule Field, wouldn't you? Couldn't you just go straight to the end? I suppose we can give it a go, right? So now I've got moon jump enabled. What I might do is I might copy my save before I do this. So I would like to have an actual save file. I was trying to move my save file from Dolphin over to Dusk, but I have no idea the file pathway that Dusk has its save files. I couldn't find it for the life of me. So yeah, moon jump. Let's see where we can go. I'm assuming that doing a jump attack is going to be the fastest way of getting around with a moon jump. Yeah, you can explore places out here. Oh, crap. That's not ideal. So yeah, I suppose we can end off with me messing around with moon jump. There's not really anything going on with this. Check for updates. Wow, really? That's good. I'm happy to see that it comes with an automatic updater. You would hate to have to download every version as they come out. That's very annoying, especially, moving save files across. I have no idea where the save files are kept, as I've said before. So yeah, that's all the settings. Let's just see where we can go with moon jump for a sec, just out of curiosity. I suppose we'll put on, since we've opened Pandora's box here, let's just go with all the cheats. I suppose infinite health's the only one that's really applicable. Maybe a sign-up's quicker. So yeah, Hyrule Field without having beat Forest Temple. That is the power of the moon jump. So now I'm sure that we could go straight to the final boss, right? Like, surely there is nothing that a moon jump can't handle. How interesting, man, like just having a moon jump whoa, I thought that would have been solid. And now I'm all the way back here. Oh my god. You gotta be kidding me. And you gotta wonder if there's a height limit as well. Yeah, so Twilight Princess does not actually possess the ability to pan the camera upward. Pulling back on the joystick simply pulls the camera out and doesn't actually move the camera up at all. So we'll quickly see if I can find my way to the end of the game without doing anything. I mean, I suppose we won't have the finishing blow move, but I mean, that seems like the sort of thing that you wouldn't actually need to still beat Ganon. Like, I would assume that the game would just assume that you already have it, so it still gives you the prompt. Yeah, it's funny to see, like, how shallow the collision really is. Like, you know, oh, I mean, I guess I've got collision all the way up here. That wasn't a good side hop. I mean, pushing the door is what activates the load here, right? So I might not actually be able to access Hyrule Castle. Let's have a look. Like, is this a fake door? Oh, it's real. Nice. So we're in Hyrule Castle, like 5 minutes into the game. Now, you do need a key. I wonder if, you know, you can just fly up to the top. Like, is the load for Ganon, like, actually up here? Well, I suppose you don't start with Ganon in the final boss. You start with Zelda. I suppose you do have to actually go and get this key. You can't skip everything. Not even with a moon jump. I mean, you really have to wonder if, like, maybe the load is, like, just behind the door? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Now, Twilight Princess rather iconically has a very deep and yet shallow combat system, where the game doesn't actually expect you to have any of the board scrolls. I mean, I suppose that's good if you're, you know, wanting to beat the game with the moon jump. You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, having to glitch over to those. The Ordon sword is obviously not really dishing out optimal damage. And I'm also not the best at the old quick spins. There we go. Well, presumably once I'm, like, in Hyrule Castle, then I should just be able to, like, float straight to Ganon. I mean, I might even leave it there. Like, if I can manage to float my way up there, I might not actually do the boss. Because I'm certain that I've missed something that I need in order to beat all 4 phases of the final boss. Like, I'm sure it's not that easy. You know, you can just float straight to the end. Yeah, I mean, this all, like, flashes me back to, way back in the day when I was younger, and I swear I saw a video, like, you know, Twilight Princess beat in, like, 20 minutes or something. And, yeah, it was just beat using, like, the moon jump cheat. Maybe it was, like, 25 minutes, something like that. I think that's actually a lantern puzzle. Hang on. That doesn't need me to beat the, Dark Nut. Lantern coming in clutch. Why is this door not opening? What if we moon jump a bonk? That's crazy. Yeah, so this room seems to be full collision. There doesn't really seem to be any simple way of bypassing this door. Like, do you have to light these in a certain order? Alright, so now we are in Castle Exterior. Or not. That had me fooled for a sec. Yeah, we still have that Dark Knight music playing. Yeah, we do not have the finishing blow, which is probably the only thing that I'm, like, actually missing. Unless you need like the ability to freely transform between wolf and human. Because, you know, if I get to the second phase of the final boss, that'll put me in wolf form. I don't know if human form is necessary for that one. I don't know. I think I might leave it if I can, like, get there. I'll be satisfied with that. Now we are in Castle Exterior, which, you know, you gotta wonder if you can simply float up from here. Because we're clearly on a, I don't want to say a different map, but like a different layer of the same map. Like if I go over here, you know, this would have been where the King Boblin fight just occurred, but I am clearly falling through the floor there. So, you know, I guess we can try a little backflip. Okay. Maybe not a backflip there. Not even that. Okay. Oh, that worked. That was clutch. See that? That was some good moon jump setup going on there. So we have collision on the top of this roof. Oh, not this side. Not this side. I mean, you gotta wonder if there's like a load zone somewhere. Jeez. I don't know. I think I give up. Alright, well that was cool. The PC port is amazing. There's also achievements, so forgot to mention. These are all, you know, pretty interesting challenges that, you know, we've got access to there. So I will delete that, you know, just save file that I was using the cheats on. I just started the file, because apparently we can't use D-pad in the menu. That's a very peculiar omission. Yeah, so that was interesting. It's a very good PC port. It will be, I am certain it will be iterated and improved upon in the coming weeks and months. You know, you can expect like the randomizer ending up on here. I mean, I don't know for certain, but, you know, if Ship of Harkinian had the randomizer, you know, the Majora's Mask, Ship of Harkinian did as well, you would assume that that would be coming to this one. And there is the other Twilight Princess PC port, the Courage Reborn. I mean, I don't know when that one drops, but, you know, it'll be cool to see, like, what that one sort of brings to the table, if it does anything differently. So yeah, I'll leave it there, and I'll see you in the next one.